so rare that we see a Western computer game get ported to the Famicom. The next year is going to bring us a veritable flood of those, which I guess makes Times of Lore the leading edge of it. The original computer version of Times of Lore was developed by Origin Systems, creators of the Ultima series. In fact, Times of Lore is kind of a technological spin-off of that. A light game built to test some features that were intended for Ultima 6. That said, I should mention something up front about Times of Lore. It's not an RPG. It's lacking that most vital pillar of the genre, character progression. At the outset of the game, you choose one of 3 different characters to play as: a knight, an Amazon, or a barbarian. It doesn't make a bit of difference which of the 3 you choose, because they're all identical. And the abilities that they have at the start of the game are identical to the abilities they have at the end of the game. Actually, Times of Lore is an open-world action-adventure game. You explore, you find quests by talking to people, and then you complete those quests by killing monsters by mashing the A button. Be careful with that A button, you can attack anybody in this game, including townspeople. The B button brings up a menu. Here you can talk, search, check out what you have, which will only be gold and food, pick up an item from the ground, use an item from your inventory, or give an item to someone, which is how you typically conclude a quest. When you talk to people, there's generally 4 options that you have. You can ask that person about current quests that you're on. You can also just greet them. Or if they've asked you a question, then you could say yes or no. Innkeepers also offer you a chance to get a night's sleep or buy some food for 10 gold each. Be careful how you talk to people. If you insult the regent, he'll have you executed. The plot of Times of Lore is that the kingdom is in peril. The previous king was wounded in battle, wandered off into the wilderness and vanished. Now everyone is looking for a hero, and that's going to be your job. Wandering the countryside, helping people out where you can, and searching for 3 special artifacts. The candle on the right-hand side as you walk around is your health. It will very slowly recover over time if you stand still, but really as it gets low, what you need to do is head to an inn. Sleeping at an inn is also how you get a password so that you can continue your game. You'll occasionally see an icon by the candle. When that happens, you'll automatically eat some food, and if you don't have any, you'll start starving and losing health. There are very few items that you can collect in Times of Lore. You can pick up weapons, and they're automatically equipped. If you get a ranged weapon, like this dagger, then you use it along with your regular weapon. You'll just fire a ranged shot every couple of swings. The other things that you can get and use are potions and scrolls. Blue and green potions refill your health. A red potion, which I didn't find while I was playing, will make you invisible for a short time. And scrolls have effects on enemies. The red scroll destroys all enemies on the screen, and you'd probably want to save it for more enemies than my quick demonstration use here. The blue scroll freezes all enemies in place, allowing you to attack them freely. Time passes as well as you play. You leave an inn in the morning, and eventually the sun will set and it will become dark. At night, monsters can spawn in cities, but during the day they're confined to the wilderness. Those enemy spawns are just about continuous. Since the only thing you get from them are whatever they drop randomly, I actually recommend only engaging if the enemies are in your way, or if you need to get more cash. One quirk of the interface that's sure to annoy you is that you don't turn around instantly when you press the opposite direction from what you're facing. Instead, you'll walk backwards for 4 or 5 steps before you turn around. So if an enemy is approaching you from behind, you'll want to rotate how you're facing by turning left or right and then turning in that direction. Times of Lore has a pretty big world, but it's also barren. The few towns that populate the vast wilderness only have a couple of buildings in them. Similarly barren are the quantity of enemies. There's basically 4 types of them, and you'll just find alternate colors. And it's not like they spawn in different environments. You'll encounter all 4 enemies immediately in the game. Unsurprisingly, this game's totally forgotten in Japan. How forgotten? Well, I found one mention of it on Japanese Twitter, from 2013. This is about as obscure a Famicom release as they come. As for myself, well, I didn't like Times of Lore when I played it on my Commodore 64. This port is slightly better, but not that much of an improvement. It's an ambitious game, but one that's let down by the lack of content. And there's no sense of progression pulling you along through the game. It's vast, but also shallow. And so I really didn't like this one.